Boy, it's loud in this chicken coop. Good morning, y'all. How's everybody on a Saturday morning? We got a special guest getting ready to come on, so I thought we'd do a little early due to the time offset. Mornings are best, and my weekdays don't work, so we decided on today. I'm out here looking at the teenagers that are in this little separate sub-coop in the main one. And I don't know if y'all remember, but I had, when we rescued or got these chickens, the white broilers, Peg, so named, was a little chicken with a kind of a not a broke leg, just a deformed leg. And she's been quite a fighter, so we've kept her around. And I was thinking, she kind of gets picked on by the other chickens a little bit and doesn't get to eat like she wants. So I thought, why not put her in here with the teenagers and let them grow up with her around, and maybe they'll be her backup, right? So she's quite nicely and had several meals this morning. But got 43 of them little rascals in there. So good stuff. So waiting on a good buddy of mine from Ireland. Jonathon Dunne is his name. We met last year, and looking forward to having him on. So y'all have to bear with me as we attempt to merge him in here. I got to get out of this chicken coop because the signal's not great. But already up and at him. I think I'm on my third cup of coffee. So liking my new little sitting place here. Let me see. I think he might. Is he on yet? No, he should be here in a minute though. But y'all are in for a treat. You stick around. He's a neat dude. But got the garden ready for some greens this morning. Did a little transplanting on the few tomatoes we've got, but I'll be putting some turnip greens and mustard greens in just a little while. But just trying to stall here and wait for him to pop on wherever he's at. I didn't even really have anything to talk about this morning. Imagine that. Waiting on him. But he's doing some good things with different organizations. I know one he's involved with is the Nazarene Fund, who it's a kind of an underground railroad for Christians out of the Middle East that are under persecution from ISIS and other forces. And we'll have him talk a little bit about that. Guess I can say hello to everybody that's here as I wait on him. Surely he'll be here in a minute. Hey, good morning, Aunt Pat. How are you? And there's Belinda and Peggy Sue from Shelby, Alabama. Alicia's on this morning. Good morning. And Margaret from, I think San Antonio. Hey, my buddy Robert Lee. What's going on, buddy? How are you? I guess you said I still hadn't caught up to all them birthday wishes. That's an inside joke. What's going on? And my sweetheart Tanaya up in North Carolina, she's on this morning. How are you? I still don't see Jonathon popping in here. Maybe he'll be on in just a second. Raining and windy already. Yeah, I saw the radar. We may get a little bit later. I think I said hello to Charlotte and Sandra. Hope I got everybody. Well, I don't see his face up there quite yet. Maybe he'll pop on here in a minute. We were just chatting on Messenger, so I know he's primed and ready. I don't know, it may take the signal a little bit longer to get over to Ireland, huh? Hey, good morning, Don. How are you? Jonathon, if you're on here, I don't see you. It might sound off in the comments, so I can figure out how to bring you on. I've been trying to get him on here for several months, but just different situations. Everybody's busy. I'm busy. He's busy. So this was the morning we decided to give us. Y'all hear Al out there showing out. Ladies are getting ready to give us our eggs for the day. I'll been trying to catch them on the nest so I can mark which ones are laying, because we are going to have to use a few of them old broilers on a thin out, and be silly to take the layers out of the flock, wouldn't it? I know not all of them are laying, but we'll see how that happens. Well, still waiting on him. Maybe he'll pop on. We may have to kill this one and start over. Not sure. But it's a little cool this morning. Not as cool as the last couple of mornings, but I don't think I'll break a sweat today. Yeah. There's Jonathon. Let me see if I can get him on here now. All right. Y'all bear with us a second. Well, for some reason I can't add you, brother. see your name. Yeah, we've got Peggy on the double yolks. We've got 2 different chickens that are laying double yolk eggs pretty consistently. Jonathan, for some reason, it won't let me add you, brother. Got other people on here, but I see your name, but it won't let me add you. Ain't that something? You may have it turned off or something. I don't know, man. Well, goodness. I guess we'll have to chit-chat a second and figure it out. Oh, first frost up in Wisconsin. My goodness, 29 degrees. Whew, I'm ready for cold, but I need a few more weeks for growing. So, goodness, 29 degrees. That's some kind of chilly. Have to get me a fire going on that one. Speaking of which, I got to dig out some of these old gas heaters. Used to have one right there in the hallway, and that was the spot. And if y'all grown up around any gas heaters or fireplaces, most of you have. I know y'all remember backing up to it, and the mean trick was somebody wearing jeans. You'd go up and pull them old hot jeans up on their thighs there. Whew. That would burn you quick. Yeah, that might be true. All right, let me see, Jonathan. No, it still didn't let it, man. Oh, wait, I got you. He's coming in, y'all. Sorry for the delay. I think we finally got it figured out. It takes a while to get across that pond. Shows it's adding him, so let's see what happens here. Nothing like live. Should be sending you a request, brother. I would sing, but I can't sing. Hey, Michelle, how are you? There he is. Hey, man.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good. Technology's awesome, isn't it?
I guess, when it works right.
Yeah. Yeah, and technology's not my strong point, so I don't know what it was. So apparently just for you now, I gotta ask you to join. You can't ask me to join your show. I gotta come on and say, can I join your show? And then you gotta say no. Slide left.
That's dangerous when two old country boys get together and try to operate technology, isn't it?
I know, yeah. It's not a good recipe for success, brother.
So tell
you need some yuppies for that. I'm based in Ireland, so it's a lot later in the afternoon, or in the afternoon here. It's 2:36, so it's, I'm well into my day, and y'all are only getting started.
Hey, I've got an idea. I wonder if this would work since you're ahead of us 7 hours or so, and I don't play the lottery, but I wonder if you could tell me the lottery.
Yeah. And then I wish I could. So I just wish someone would create the DeLorean so we could go forward and get that almanac and then screw Doc Brown and bring it back and then start, pick the Cubbies to win the World Series.
That's right. So tell you a little bit about how Jonathan and I met. Jonathan's got a passion for America, and I'm gonna let him talk a little bit about his perception. And had he came over last year and was on a speaking tour, and I think he'll be back again before too long. And just talks about our principles. And he's definitely entertaining to watch and listen to, and it'll make you think about things. Now, you've got a Facebook page, Freedom's Disciple, correct?
Well, that's actually gone. It's just my Facebook page now, my personal one, Jonathon Dunne, and on Twitter. Okay.
Well, he got stuck in Austin, Texas, of all places, over several car rental debacles that was out of his control. And I was in a position to be able to run down there and get him to Dallas for his next speaking engagement. And we had a pretty good visit riding through that countryside, didn't we, sir?
Oh, we did. It was amazing, and I'm forever in your debt. If you were to let everyone know, last year it was the hurricane, and I've traveled the world. I've traveled all over America. I've traveled everywhere, and everywhere I go, I fly into airports and I get rental cars. I have never seen a situation where I've walked into an airport rental terminal and literally you have all the booths lined up, and I go one by one because they messed up my agreement. There was no car. And then I go literally one by one, can I have a car? I'm like not even asking. I'm not like, normally I'm going, can I have the basic, compact, mid-sized car? I'm not even saying what car. Just give me a car. It could be like, Fred Flintstone's car. It could have been an SUV.
Hey, would you take the horse at that point?
I would have taken anything. I'm not gonna lie. If they gave me a pack of roller skates, I would have taken them. It would have been hilariously funny because I'm not built to ride on roller skates. But if they had said anything, I was desperate. So and I'm like, the biggest thing in my mind is because I'm going to places, people have organized me to speak at them, and literally I'm not caring about myself. I'm not worrying about. I'm like, literally, I've said I'm going to be somewhere, and it's not like down in places like Texas where I was going. It's not like you can jump on a bus and go to places. I wasn't in the city, so I had to get to places, and then I had to get out to, I can't remember where is it. Was it Fredericksburg? You picked
It
me
was.
up,
Yep.
and then I had to get to Fredericksburg. Someone else helped me out with a lift, and then I had to get back to Dallas. I'm like, what am I going to do? And basically pleaded on Facebook, can someone help me out in Southern Hospitality? And you were a gentleman, you came pick me up. And it's funny because we only saw the memory of it. Facebook has those memories of, hey, this is what you did. And then I was like, there's a big picture, typical me, right? I see this big picture of me in front of food. I'm like, oh, I remember that breakfast. That was a good breakfast. So
It was. Well, Jonathan, so the folks that kind of follow this personal blog or whatever, of course, as you know, we've talked along the way. Been blessed to come back to an old family home place here. It's 100
it's
plus.
looking great.
Yeah, and I know you'll be interested in this. There's a tree that lightning hit. I don't know if you can see it behind me. See that brown in the pasture there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that's just part of it. But that tree, Jonathan, is right at, and I know this isn't a big deal over in Ireland necessarily because y'all got buildings older than the universe just about.
Well,
With
not
us
so
being
sure.
with us being a young country, it really set me back when I got to researching this old post oak. It's right at 300 to 350 years old. So
Wow.
I just think that's really cool to know that it was here before even the Americas
You're
started. So
Wow, that's seen a lot of things. If that tree could talk,
oh
that
my.
would that would share a lot of stories.
Well, I sit out by it hoping it'll tell me a few things from time to time. It hadn't said anything yet, but
Well, you never know.
you never know. So, one of the interesting things, folks, is we talk about our different ideals and things. It's all first person with us because we're Americans and we live here. Sometimes it's cool, and I've never traveled outside of the United States and haven't seen the other parts of the world. But Jonathan really gave me a different appreciation for where I've been blessed to have been born in. Tell us a little bit about your passions, Jonathan, and what you see America as.
Sure. So I was the typical annoying kid growing up. Ireland is a socialist country. I know a lot of people seem to have this vision of Ireland as this freedom-loving country. It really isn't. It's very much socialism, big government, politicians to tell you what to do. And as I was growing up and I saw my father have his own business and I saw my father have his own business and work an evening job and I saw my mother, work two jobs and, at times struggle to put food on the table. I was always that annoying kid going, that's not right. That just doesn't seem right. And as I grew up and I learned more and more through civics, I was like, this doesn't make sense. This is just crazy. It's just not right. And I would annoy people going, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. And I would frustrate people, and understandably so, because everyone would go, okay, genius, you're the one saying it's always not right. Well, then tell me what is right. Give me the answers. Don't be just that person who goes, that's not right. That's wrong. Tell me what's right. And I could never actually tell you. So I was really blessed as a kid when I was growing up. I can never find the exact age, but I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I got to travel over to America. I got to go over to Clearwater, Florida, to see my great aunt, and got to spend some time there. So my love affair started with America about nearly 30 years ago. And then as the internet came about and I started falling in love with your country more and more, and I fell in love with your history, I actually then was able to finally say, okay, that's wrong, but here's the answer. The answer, what is wrong, is big government. What is wrong is socialism. What is wrong is people telling you what to do. The answers are what I call the idea of America. That idea of that you are an individual. It's not about your class. It's not about your race. It's not about your gender. It's not about who you sleep with. None of that. Everything you want to be defined by, cool. But America's not about that. America is about the individual. Let's judge you by the content of your character. America is about the idea that you have a God-given right to pursue your happiness. If you want to go be on a farm, be a farmer. If you want to go be a lawyer, be a lawyer. If you want to go be a big Irish guy talking about America, go do whatever it is that makes you happy. If you want to go be a baseball player, go do it. That idea that you can pursue your happiness. But also the great thing about America is that when you pursue your own happiness, and if you're successful, which please God you will be, you get to keep the fruits of your own labor. That is the idea that it's your money. Whereas if you look at the history of the world, it's not been that way. You haven't been allowed to pursue, your own happiness. You've been judged by the content, not by the content of your character, but by little frivolous things. Your race, your gender, your family. Did you come from a broken family or a single parent family? What family was your name? What was your religion? In Ireland, there was the old thing of if you weren't Catholic, sorry, there was that type of discrimination. So, but also you're not allowed to keep the fruits of your own labor. Even to this day, in Ireland, every cent, if you pay if you're just an employee, every cent over $35,000, give or take with the exchange rate, is charged at 40% tax of an income tax. Plus there's other taxes like that. So there's no incentive to be better. Everyone just wants to be average. So that idea of you can pursue your happiness, but you can keep the fruits of your own labor, help innovate, help people go, I can have a brighter future. I can set my family up. And I always say to everyone, question everything I say. And I always give people, if you want something to think about this weekend, think about this. Think of any section of society. Don't let me influence you. Any section, whether it's communication, whether it's travel, whether it's medicine, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's standard of living, whether it's travel, whether it's communication, any section of society. And take 2 points in time. Let's just take an arbitrary point in time, which 90% of the world agrees with. Today is 2018. It's the 29th of August. 0 AD, the time of Christ, up till 1800. And research how much innovation and how much advancement happened in 1800 years. Whatever part of society you check, do that research. Then take it from 1800 to 2018 and look at how many times better it's got in that 218 years. Why is that? The idea of America, because Americans were allowed to pursue their happiness and also, if they were successful, reap the rewards that success gave. And that is why society, there's that incentive to go, hey, I want to create a video app that allows an Irish guy talk to an American 6,500, actually you're in Texas, so you're about 8,000 miles away from me, live, and you can all watch me. And just basically leaving people alone is why America is different.
Yeah, and we say that, and that's a general overview. But with great liberty and freedom comes great responsibility, and we haven't always gotten that right as Americans. That's why it's about the idea of America, not necessarily the practical application that we see in force today. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's about the individual. And the one thing I always say, another reason America is always different is because it's, I do a show on the Blaze and I finish my show the same way each and every week. The last thing I want you to hear from me, if you agree or disagree with the principles I talk about every week, the last thing I want you to hear is this. I believe in the sentiments of de Tocqueville. America is great because Americans are good. When I think of England, the first thing I think of is the Queen. When I think of Iran, the first thing I think of is the Ayatollah. When I think of America, this may annoy some people, it's not meant as a slam. I don't think of Donald Trump. I don't think of Barack Obama. I don't think of Paul Ryan or Mitch McConnell or Chuck Schumer or Chuck Grassley or anyone in DC. They're the worst of America, usually. When I think of America, I think of the idea, but I think of your people. I was there last year when your crisis was hitting. I was there last year when the hurricanes were hitting. It wasn't about the government finding solutions. It wasn't about the government providing relief. Obviously, they have a role in that. If you like that or you dislike it, that's a conversation for another. Going, hey, there's this problem. What's the government doing? But no, I actually saw people getting their Jeeps, get in their vans, bring water, bring fuel down to the people. You were down there. I saw videos of you in the boats. That's what America is about. It's not about, hey, it's someone else's job or someone else's responsibility to look after my neighbor who's fallen. It's mine. And that idea is what makes you exceptional. And the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that has helped been formed to help America, but also to help the rest of the world. The rest of the world is a better place because of your country. You all have a saying over there that I've adopted, and it pisses, excuse my French, every European off, but it needs to be said. You all have a saying over there, if you love freedom, thank a vet. Well, I say to If you love freedom, thank a vet. If you live in Europe and you don't speak German, you need to thank a US vet, because it is their blood, their tears, their sacrifice of the people who serve, but also the family and friends and the community they left behind, that is the reason we don't speak German.
Yeah.
And that is something we should be forever thankful for. Because honestly, just as a personal thing, I struggle with the English language. I'm slagged because I butchered the English language. You don't want to hear me speak German, brother. It isn't getting any better.
Oh, well, I love your spirit, and I love, you know, your biggest dream was to come here, and as long as there's breath, there's hope. But you went through a severe disappointment here a while back and not being able to do that. And it breaks my heart to know that someone that loves his country and wants to be here through political games or red tape and all that, and we can talk about the immigration issues and all that, rather not. But you want to do it the correct way. You could circumvent the system like so many do, and probably get away with it, but that's just not who you are. And it really makes my heart glad to know that somebody appreciates the ideal of America. We sure don't get it right all the time, and we've made our mistakes because mankind is involved. But when you really get down to personal responsibility, when you get it, you get it. You know, we can do better every day. So I'm afraid we're moving away from that personal responsibility, and that moves away from the idea of who we really are as a people. So
Absolutely. And the first thing I always say is America is not perfect. If you want, I can talk to you all day long about the things America has done really bad. You know, and I will say this, if you want to go through the things America has gotten wrong, there's a common theme. Government is usually involved. You know, that's the problem, I think, with some people in America today, is they all want to hear America is a great country. I'll talk to you all day long about the things America has got right. I am extremely passionate. America is the only exceptional nation in the history of the world, not just today, in the history of the world. If you read your founding documents, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, you got so much right there. But there's also the bad side of America, which is I can talk to, which no one seems to want to talk about in certain circles. I can talk to you about the Battle of Wounded Knee. That's a day of national disgrace. I can talk to you about what happened in DC on Thursday. That is a day of national disgrace that every American should be ashamed by, whether you're left, right, or top or bottom. There's certain things that I can talk to you about. But, you know, the problem is, but there's two sides in America. You're all in a team jersey right now. There is the side who only ever want to talk, America's great, America's great. I don't want to hear the bad side. And there's the other side, is America sucks, America's horrible, America needs to be more like Europe. No, you need to tell the full story. And you need to understand that we need to talk about history. When America gets something done wrong, we need to look at it and go, okay, what happened there? And what you will usually find is America is like every other nation. It's not perfect. And when mistakes happen, it's because of man. But when man makes mistakes, the underlying principles are not wrong. It's man that is flawed. Man is a sinner. Man is never going to get anything right. I don't know about you. I haven't lived a perfect life. I don't know about you. I don't know anyone who has lived a perfect life. So this idea that you can take, and especially in America's sense, because you're so big, I haven't lived a perfect life, and you think that the idea of you can put 300 plus million together, people who have not lived perfect lives, and have something that come out with perfect, it just doesn't work. It doesn't make mathematical sense. It doesn't make emotional sense. It doesn't make logical sense. But we need to have those conversations. And America is an exceptional nation because of the idea, because of the underlying principles. And if we can be that Statue of Liberty, if we can be this lady, that's what I think America is. America, when it's at its best, is that. It's not telling people how to live. It's saying, here, these are my principles, and here's the light I'm going to shine, not for Americans, but for everyone. To say, this is why we're great, but to shine the light. Not to me, shine the light and say, this is what can happen. America can still be that way. I still think your best days are ahead of you. It's just you have to understand it's about the principles. And the one reason I'm passionate about it is I don't hear many people talk about the Constitution anymore. I don't hear many people talk about your history anymore. And that is why I never give up. I want to add conversation. I want to be, hey, Europe, you don't want to be like Europe. Europe needs to be more like you. America needs to be a leader, but a leader because of its principles, not because of who's the president or who owns Congress, but
right.
because of your people and principles. And I think if we get to that point, your future is going to be amazing.
Yep. I think all of us could do better about not talking about people and talking about ideals instead. So that's
Amen.
how it starts. But I do want to real quickly, and Jonathan's a good friend. Traditional sense. This is more about what enabled my grandparents to put in a pasture and let me come along and with an old hand plow and put in peas and corn. I guess 300 years ago, half of my garden would have been going to the king, you know. So I'm thankful God eat every bit of corn that's out there, and I'm giving it away
Absolutely.
out of my own self, to my neighbors and
Choice.
friends and family. That's right.
That's the great
That's right.
thing. It's your choice. It's true charity. Because that's
That's
what
right.
would happen. Like that's the old days. The king used to come in and take your business. If you create the innovation, the reason you have more innovation is because of freedom. The old days, the king would come in and go, "Oh, you have this innovation. That's great. It's now mine. But I'm going to be a nice, compassionate king, and you can work for me on your
Right.
project."
It's when we stop giving that we fail to live up to the ideal of America, though. Personally,
Absolutely.
I think that. But tell me about the this. I know you're working closely with the Nazarene Fund, and that's close to my heart as a believer with those that are being persecuted over in the Middle East. What have you got going on with that as we wrap it up for the day here?
Absolutely. So one of the things I always say is if you truly believe in limited government, you have to understand it's not okay to just say government more. It's our responsibility to take up the slack. To my ideals, and my ideals in life is, you know what, we need to do more to help the Christians in the Middle East. If you look at what's going in the Middle East, the Christians are being slaughtered. We have issues. You have issues right now where you're all talking about a Supreme Court justice. Let me give you an example. Imagine today, right now, there's a knock on your door, and a stranger knocks on your door and gives you three choices: convert, pay a tax, or die. That's what's happening in the Middle East. Imagine you live in the Middle East and you go to church maybe tomorrow, and you go to service and you have friends with you have fun with your family and your friends. Imagine waking up tomorrow and your church is bombed. Imagine waking up tomorrow and you have to have all these issues. These are ongoing issues in the Middle East and around the world. In places like China, Christians are being persecuted, but also other places have been persecuted. It's not just about Christians. In what's happening in China, Muslims are being persecuted by the Chinese government, saying you cannot live in our country and practice Muslim. Whether you like that or not, people have a right to be that right to freedom of religion, to serve whoever they serve. So one of the things Nazarene Fund has been doing, and it's been doing for a very long time, is help free those slaves, help get them out of there, help encourage them, help build up, help reclaim their history, especially if you're a Christian. Some of these Christians are like the original Christians. They can have a lineage of right to Jesus Christ. They speak the original language, Aramaic. So they are literally like the original Christians. And we're trying to help them, trying to get them out. So I believe in the free markets, but I also believe in charity. So I set up and I want to help these people. So I started designing these hoodies. And one of them is already out there. It's a simple message. It's not a political message. It's a very simple message. America making the impossible possible since 1776. Because that is what America is. Ignore the naysayers. Dream big. I don't care who says it's impossible. You can do it. Because that's what America has done through your people and through your history. That's what I'm trying to do. There's more designs coming, which will be announced this next week. So what I'm doing is I'm selling these hoodies, and pretty much all the profits are going to the Nazarene Fund. I'm not looking for you to donate to the Nazarene Fund. I'm looking for you to buy a great hoodie with a great message to share a positive message in society, but also knowing on the back end, it's not someone trying to get rich off it. It's someone trying to, make a better difference, to make a positive impact on society. If you want to check it out, it's freedomsdisciple.com/store. Check it out. There's loads of new products coming, and we appreciate any help you can give.
Yeah, that's awesome. And check out the Nazarene Fund, folks. I think you'll be impressed at their work. And Jonathan, we've been trying to get together virtually on this thing for months now. And I think he kind of gave me a start this morning. I messaged him to say good morning, and it's not a good morning. America's losing.
No, it's not.
I'm like, who knew?
It's
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, America's getting its butt kicked in the Ryder Cup, and I know most people don't like it, and it's golf and things like that, but I'm a big golf fan, and I'm actually taking a bit of time off my paid job, and it's always an unusual time for me because everyone's like, "You looking forward to the Ryder Cup?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Gee, I can't wait. Europe kicks America butt." And I'm like, I'm the person who's going, "I'm not shouting for Europe." What? Why? I'm shouting for America. That's where my heart lies. That's where my soul lies. And it's not looking good, but America has overcome worse, and please God, America will overcome this.
Well, hey, so you may not know it, but I actually have golf balls here on the place. Did you know that?
Oh, what? No, I didn't.
Yeah, and actually, there's probably about a dozen of them. Right, and
Target practice?
so do you know what they're used for? Actually, in a
I was
chicken
going to
coop?
say target practice.
No, no. So a couple of things. Of course, you can buy a ceramic egg, but golf balls are the perfect thing to put in the nests, and the hens see it and assume that's where they're supposed to lay their egg. Believe it or not.
Wow.
All right, so I've got. You probably wouldn't want to use any of these balls in the rider.
I'd like Europe to use some of them. That would be fun.
Yeah. So one of the cool things too, in this old pasture, you'll find a few golf balls, old golf balls, but it's not from ones that anyone has hit, because the other side of having golf balls in the chicken nests, chicken snakes will come and swallow the egg. But if you've got golf balls in there, they'll mistake that for an egg, swallow it, it'll kill them. They rot away, and there's the golf ball in the pasture. So that's my golf lesson for it. Not quite what you expected, was it?
No, that's an unusual use of golf balls. Just for your own sake, just look on the label. Just make sure they're not Pro V's, because Pro V's are like $3 or $4 a ball. So just make sure you're not spending wasting good money on snakes and eggs.
That will be premium eggs then. Those like
Yeah.
charge for those.
Yeah, I know. Actually, if you want a funny story, I'll never forget a funny story. Look, the way kids, when they're learning, they're growing up,
Sure.
and they don't get things like this. So I'll never forget, we were down the farm one day, and she's a little girl. She's like the granddaughter of the farmer who's there. And she's like, "Can I ask you a question?" And it's a really tough question, and you're like, "Oh God, what's this 3-4-year-old kid gonna ask?" She's like, "Why is it that when we go to the shop and buy eggs, and when the hens lay eggs outside, that the shop eggs have a stamp and they don't? I always thought they came with the stamp." And I'm like, "How do you explain this to a kid?" And like every time she'd pick up the hen from the egg, she'd go, "No stamp. That's literally all she ever looked for." She's like, "Oh, no stamp," because it has to have the best before date and stuff on it. And she's like, "Oh, that's useless. That's pointless. I won't woo the stamp, thinking it's going to come out of the hen."
I guess we could put it well near the chicken, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, but it's a pity the hens can't be modified to lay an egg with a best before date.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, I don't want to put you on the spot because I know it's always a fluid
You go
situation.
for it.
Do you have any plans or any thoughts about next time you're coming back to the States?
I'm hoping, I'm working on something which I'll talk to you privately about, but I'm hoping I'll be there early 2019.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, I'm hoping so. I wanna share a message with people, as many people as I can. I'm blessed that the Blaze I'm still with the Blazes. I don't know why they haven't fired me. I'm there 3 years now. That I get, I always slag Glenn. I'm like, I really think I'm to fill a quota or something. I'm like a tax write off, or hire an Irish guy to have a show and it's a tax write off. You get an extra 5% off.
You're a
I don't
pimp.
know.
Are you?
um,
Is that part of his charity arm?
Maybe, I don't know, but it has to be something, right? Because it's
Oh,
not my talent of verbally communicating the English language.
oh,
No, so I've been there 3 years, and I'm blessed to do a show every week, and I have an hour show, which usually turns into about a 90-minute show, and we talk purely principles, the news of the day, but through a principled eye. But I want to share the history of your country, and share with more people, because the way I look at it is, I have a debt to pay to your country. You've inspired me so much, your people, your history. You changed my life as a country. I'm finally able to tell you what is right in the country, right in the world, and this idea that needs to be shared more. And
yeah,
as you're going through so much issues right now, it's not popular to talk about what I talk about in many circles. So I have a debt to repay, to say, hey, look, this is why you're great. This is why you're exceptional. These are the reasons. This is not my history. This is your history. And if you can remember these ideas and you can return to those principles, my God, how much you'll prosper, and
yeah,
how much the world will prosper. So I have a debt to repay your nation, because it's not many people know about it, and it's payback time, and that's what I'm pretty much, everything I'm trying to do is to help your country and to help your people.
yeah. Well, we owe you as well a debt of gratitude for reminding us it's a principle-based theorem, and it works when the right hearts are involved and true integrity is applied. So, thank you for. I thought this morning. Of course, your name's Jonathan, different spelling, but I don't know if you remember old John the Baptist, the boys crying in the wilderness. I think sometimes that's the role that you play because you're people always mistake it for political banter when it's not. It's just an ideal and what America's on. So it's nothing to do with parties as much as it is an ideal and personal responsibility and learning to do better with what we've got. So I'm
Absolutely, it isn't about politics.
no,
It isn't. It is nothing to do with politics. It's some of the greatest people who ever lived. Like George Washington, one of the greatest men who ever lived. You look at your founding document, the Declaration of Independence. Your founders were such great men. They had everything in order. It wasn't about parties. It wasn't about people. What it was about was that when they pledged each other their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. If you read that document, you understand life was important to them because they said that was the first right from God. They knew fortunes was important because these weren't poor people. These weren't the working class or the working people of the day. These were the people you would hate in most cultures today. They're the rich, the millionaires, and the billionaires. But
yeah,
they said only one thing was sacred: honor. And why did they say that? Because they knew it. Because they knew their life was only going to last a certain amount of time. They knew when they signed in, a lot of them signed the Declaration of Independence. It wasn't signing a Declaration of Independence. It was signing their death warrant. They knew their fortunes weren't forever because money goes. But they
yeah,
knew one thing would stay forever: their honor. And it's that reason alone why there's an Irish guy talking to a Texan 238 years later, talking to them about George Washington being a
yeah,
great man, talking to them about those ideas. Because honor is sacred. Honor lasts forever. And if you want to change society and you want to be remembered, having honor is usually a good way to go about it.
yeah. If you want to see true goodness, look at 9/12. Look at what happens after a hurricane. Politics and all that are thrown aside, and we get down to the core of the goodness that we can find within us. And I think that's kind of where I want to live. So, um,
Absolutely. And 9/12 is one of the greatest days in your history. That was a day you showed the world
yeah,
who you really are. When America, because a lot of people, it's cool, even back, in 2001, it was cool to hate America. It always was, especially when a Republican is in office. It's cool to hate America. Oh, you Americans, you're also, you're big and you're loud and all this. It's cool to hate in America. When the world saw 9/11, the world wept. And
yeah,
they said, "Oh my God!" Because you remember, it was so out of the ordinary. It was so outrageous. It was a horrific attack, one of the worst days in your history. I wanted to be there so bad to help. But what I saw in 9/12, the world saw the America I knew, the America I love, and the America I know still exists today. Those pictures matters is about your people and all the ideas that came from that, of hugging, of singing, of helping each other. When it was time to be patriotic, getting those flags out. What upsets me today is 9/11 happens, everywhere sold out of flags. It was cool to be patriotic once again.
yeah,
And is it still cool? It's
yeah,
cool in some circles, but is it really still cool? It's not about who's president, it's about the idea. And it should be always cool to wear that, show that flag, to show that pride, because it's the greatest flag in the history of the world. It is amazing. It stands for so much, and
yeah,
it inspires so many people.
yeah. Well, you never fail to inspire me, Jonathan, and I appreciate you taking the time. I always enjoy talks, and when we get ramped up, we'll go for an hour or so. So,
Absolutely, I look forward to it. I'll talk to you all day long about America and why it's great. And
yeah,
please God, soon I'll be able to do a Facebook Live with you there live in person, because
that's right.
I
That's
can't
right.
wait to get down and hang out with you, brother.
So no disrespect, and it's kind of cool, but I think now that I've got freedom chickens because they've been sitting here listening to this whole talk, and now
Yeah, you should put me on in the hand. I'll be going around going principles, 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 peck, 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 peck.
so does that mean we'll have freedom eggs now, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know what? I'd start charging a premium for that. You know, if people can sell organic stuff, you know, it only earns a certain amount, and it only you know, all these organic cows, you know, they only see like 3 hours of sunlight a day and stuff, and they charge a premium for it. I think you should be able to charge a premium for your freedom eggs because they were grown up on a, you know, on listening to freedoms and principles, man. I think, you know, that should be a premium.
Well, Al agrees. He's currently.
I was just gonna say, I got an amen. I got that's a quorum right there. That's what that is.
Well, hey man, enjoy your day, and we'll hope that the Americans can turn the tide on the Ryder Cup. I'll have to let you update me on that. I've got a few rows to put in and some greens, turnip greens, and mustard greens to plant. So maybe when you come, I'll have to save some of these peas for you to eat. I don't know
You better.
you've never
You got to
had
save me
southern
some
peas, have
greens,
you?
huh?
You've never had southern peas, have you?
Oh, I have. I've had southern greens and peas and everything.
Oh,
I've had. Look at me. Do I look like the physique of someone who hasn't had everything? I've had one of everything and everywhere. So nah, yeah, no, I love southern greens. I love, you know, southern food, man. Just mashed potatoes, gravy. Oh man, I'm getting hungry. Whoo.
hey, have a fantastic day, man. I appreciate you so much, and thanks for spending a little bit of time just chewing the fat, if you will. So, no pun intended.
Well, look,
No pun.
I was just gonna say, is that a fat joke?
All right, love you, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I love you too, man. You take care, right? Have a great day, y'all.
All right.